Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Lisa, and today I can't wait to share all about our recent Disney Mediterranean cruise. It was such an amazing adventure. If you're planning your own cruise or just dreaming about one, I've got some great details and tips to share. From exploring the ports to getting around on the ship, I'll cover everything you need to know. Let's jump in and get you ready for an unforgettable adventure. This cruise was our second time doing a Mediterranean cruise with Disney Cruise Line. We loved it so much the first time that we went back to enjoy a different itinerary. For this cruise, we were sailing out of Barcelona for a 9-night sailing with stops in Sicily, Naples, Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos before we ended in Rome. We flew into Barcelona a few days before our cruise, which is something I always recommend. In those few days, we saw some amazing sights, had some wonderful eats, and shopped till we dropped while we explored this beautiful city. If you'd be interested in a video on everything we did in Barcelona, drop a comment below. We kicked off Embarkation Day by sleeping in a little, which was just what we needed to help us fight off the jet lag. Our hotel, the AC Sants in Barcelona, was just across the street from the train station. This was super convenient because even though we didn't use the train, there were always taxis lined up here, so grabbing a cab was so easy. By 11:15, we were headed to the train station. We only had to wait about 10 minutes for a cab, but traffic was pretty heavy, so our ride to the cruise port took about 35 minutes. We had booked a guaranteed inside cabin for this trip and were curious to see what an upgrade at the port would cost, but when we got there, we found out no upgrades were left. What a bummer, right? Booking guaranteed is a great way to save a little money, and you can always ask about upgrades when you get to the port. Just know they may not be available. We were in boarding group 17, so we were on the ship fairly early. Getting on the ship early is a wonderful way to explore, take pictures, and familiarize yourself with the ship. We did a brief exploration and then headed to Cabanas for lunch. Here's a little pro tip. If you're not feeling the buffet and want a quieter environment to eat in, you can actually eat in the sit-down restaurants. Just check the app. There is one open for breakfast and lunch every day. This is something I really wish we'd known sooner. After exploring the open houses and taking a walk through the Bippity Boppity Boutique, our stateroom was ready. We were able to get into our room around 1:30. Not all our bags arrived at once, but that gave us some time to settle into our room. As it turned out, we were placed in an accessible room. Because this room was an accessible room, it had a slightly different layout than what we had expected for an inside room. The room felt very spacious, had automatic doors, low switches, and a closet which had an accessible hanging bar. The room also had a much larger bathroom than normal, with a flat tile base and a flip-down seat in the shower for accessibility. We had a queen-size bed and a couch that could have been transitioned into another bed. Another major difference between the accessible room and the standard inside stateroom is that the accessible room did not have a curtain to separate the bed and couch areas. Please note, we did not pick or ask for an accessible room. This is what Disney assigned to us. For this trip, we each took 2 carry-on bags. 2 of our 4 bags were waiting for us when we got to the room. The other 2 bags came later, with the last one not showing up until after 6 o'clock. Here's another pro tip specifically for those bags. Use your own luggage tags in addition to the ones provided by Disney. Because we booked a guaranteed room for our cruise, our luggage tags did not show up until after we were already on our way to Spain. This meant that Disney tagged our bags at the port. The cast member at the port was super helpful, but he was rushing and didn't fully secure the baggage tags. The tag on my bag ended up falling off, and had it not been for our standard luggage tags, it may have taken even longer for our luggage to find us. Another great way to keep track of your bags is to use something like AirTags. We didn't have to use the locating feature with our AirTags for this cruise, but it was reassuring knowing they were at least on the boat. After getting settled in, we attended the mandatory muster drill and then the sail away party. I absolutely love the sail away party. It is such an absolute fun time celebrating your sailing with the Fab Five and Chip and Dale, dancing and singing to begin your journey. For dining on a Disney cruise, you'll be assigned a time and table number. You can find that table number right in the app under your dinner schedule, which is super convenient. Our first dinner was at Animator's Palette, and I just want to take a minute to shout out Disney for what an amazing job they do with seating. Both of the cruises we've done as just a couple, Disney did a tremendous job of seating us with couples we had lots in common with, which kept our dinner conversations flowing easily. After dinner, we spent some time in the adult-only areas enjoying the evening entertainment. This is something we really love on the Disney ships. They bring on some tremendous entertainment that will be featured nightly in the adult lounges. That night we slept really well now that we were all settled in. One thing we always do when we travel to guarantee a good night's sleep is use a white noise app. This really helped block out some of the hallway noise on the ship. Do you think planning all of the details of a Disney cruise feels overwhelming? Well, don't worry. That's exactly where I can help. As a Disney travel planner, I'm here to make your cruise planning easy and stress-free so you can focus on the fun and excitement instead of the logistics. I'll help you with everything from choosing the right stateroom to booking excursions, dining, and all those little magical touches. Plus, working with a Disney planner means you have someone who knows all the ins and outs so no detail gets missed. My planning services don't add any cost to your trip, and you can simply look forward to an unforgettable, magical adventure at sea. Day 2 of this cruise was all about relaxation. We slept in and then had lunch at Royal Palace. The menu had some nice lighter options, which was a pleasant surprise. We spent the rest of the day exploring, playing trivia, and taking in some of the entertainment. That night, we had the perfect end to our day with a relaxing dinner at Palo Restaurant. Palo is one of the fine dining restaurants on board the Dream, and although it's an extra cost, it is well worth it in my opinion. The food, environment, and service are all phenomenal. Day 3 was one we were so excited for. This was our Sicily Excursion day. We left for our excursion around 9:30, which started with a 2-hour bus ride. Our guide was outstanding, and even when the bus broke down, she joked that it was her job to be our guide and our entertainment, and she truly did a great job with both. After a few hiccups with the bus, we finally reached Mount Etna. This was an incredible experience, and the most memorable part was how windy it was. If you're headed out on this excursion, make sure to dress comfortably and in layers. Definitely skip that floppy hat and make sure you wear your sunglasses. The wind combined with the volcanic ash makes sunglasses a must-do to protect your eyes. The wind was so extreme this day, but we enjoyed seeing Mount Etna and learning fun facts like that chamomile grows wild here. There were a few restaurants and souvenir shops around to explore, and one warning here is that like so many places in Italy, you do have to pay to use the restroom, so make sure you always carry some coins with you. The bus ride back was about another 2 hours, and it was a very windy ride with twists and turns, so if you get motion sick, you might want to be prepared that this is a rough ride. Next, we stopped in Taormina for about an hour and a half. This city was absolutely stunning. It had lovely alleyways and views of both the water and Mount Etna. We really didn't have enough time here. I could have spent the whole day exploring. We briefly looked around the town and then bought tickets to explore the Greek theater. The tickets were 13 euros each, and while it was interesting, we really didn't have enough time to take it all in. If you ever get the chance to visit Taormina, make sure you grab a cannoli. Our guide had told us these were the best cannolis you'd ever eat, and man, was she right. We got back to the port city of Messina around 5:30, and since the ship's onboard time wasn't until 7:30, we walked around the city for about an hour. There was a large religious festival that day, but unfortunately I couldn't go into the cathedral because I had worn shorts and a tank top. We weren't planning on visiting any cathedrals this day, so I hadn't dressed for it. If you do want to visit cathedrals, which I highly recommend because of how beautiful and ornate they are, make sure you dress with your knees and shoulders covered. We tried to eat in Messina, but because the Italians don't eat until much later, no restaurants were open, so we headed back to the ship. This was pirate night on our sailing, so when we got back to our room, we found our new pirate bandanas waiting for us. After freshening up a bit and putting on our pirate gear, we took a few pics and headed to dinner at the Royal Palace. The food at Royal Palace was a little hit and miss for us this night. I had the beef tenderloin, which was average, but I also had the fried brie with cranberry chutney and the French onion soup, which were both fantastic. This fried brie dish is one of my favorite Disney Cruise Line appetizers. Want to know my all-time favorite Disney Cruise Line appetizer? Come back for part 2 of this video to find out. We were pretty tired after being so windblown on our excursion for the day, so we went back to the room right after dinner and spent some time enjoying the on-demand Disney movies. Day 4 was another relaxing day at sea. I cannot tell you enough how much we enjoyed just being on the ship and relaxing. We slept in again and got up in time just to catch the end of breakfast at Cabanas. This day was the character dance party, which I highly recommend. This is one of the most fun activities on the cruise, and it gives you a chance to have the best interactions with all of Disney's top characters. After the dance party, we spent some time hanging out at the adult-only pool and then hit the trivia. These ship days offer tons of great family activities like trivia, animation classes, cooking lessons, and ship tours. Lunch for us this day was at the quick service spot on the pool deck. For our cruise, this area had Luigi's Pizza, Tow Mater's Grill, and Fillmore's Favorites. With the Dream's latest refurbishment, I believe they also added an area for tacos. We had the chicken nuggets, pizza, and mozzarella and prosciutto sandwich. This food was very on par with what you'd expect as far as quality goes. It's good, but nothing amazing. Disney does a very good job with offering a decent variety of choices in this area and making sure that you have access to some healthier options like salads and fruit bowls. We also hit up the ice cream treats for some of the tasty soft serve that's included and readily available on the cruises. Pro tip here, check back on the different days of your cruise because these soft serve flavors will change by the day. Since this was another full day on the ship, I decided to treat myself to a spa appointment for a keratin treatment. The spa services were excellent as always. We absolutely love the Senses Spa on Disney Cruise Line, and if you're curious about pricing, I find it to be similar to some of the higher-end spas we have at home. My spa appointment ran into our showtime for that night, so we skipped dinner to be able to watch the Beauty and the Beast show. This show was phenomenal, with slight variations from the animated story and a Broadway caliber cast. Even though we've seen it several times, it still brought me to tears. Disney cruises will have some kind of show every night of your cruise, and the shows have 2 different offerings each night, which if you stick to your dinner schedule, the show will be opposite of your dinner time. Since we had missed dinner, we ordered room service, which is included except for a few select options and specialty drinks. Having the room service included is another thing that we love about Disney cruises. It's perfect if you're too exhausted for dinner or if you need a late night snack. Here's one last pro tip to close out this video. In your room, you'll find menu cards for the room service breakfast. You can fill these cards out and hang them on your door at night, and breakfast will magically appear to your room. Well, that wraps up the first few days of our cruise. From embarkation to Sicily and a couple relaxing days at sea, this adventure had an amazing start. If you enjoyed this video or found it to be helpful, give it a like. If you're interested in all the info we gathered from our stops in Greece, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can join us for the second half of our Mediterranean adventure.